well, my name's Alex Durrant, and I am the dance lecturer at Windward Community College. In the campus, we're in the dance studio right now. This is where I do most of my classes.
So I did grow up in a very musical family. Really led by my mother. My mother is a dance teacher herself, and when I was growing up, she had her own school down the road from where we lived that she taught age ranges from 3 right up to 18. And I mean, one of the things that I remember most about her and being at home is that she was playing ballet music pretty much 24/7. I remember a lot of, I knew the class music off by heart because the RAD syllabus, elementary, intermediate, advanced, grades 1 through 5, they have set music that you have to learn the exercises too, so that you can be examined. And the examiner won't set an exercise or anything. You learn the exercise, the music's played, and away you go. End of story. So that music I heard almost all the time, and music to ballets. We saw a lot of ballet. She was often playing ballets on VHS back in those days at home. So things like Sleeping Beauty, Swan Lake, Romeo and Juliet just became part of like what my musical upbringing was. I mean, I don't know if I can still do it now, but at one point I could pretty much name a ballet just from sort of 8 to 16 counts of a little bit of music from anywhere in the ballet, and I could be like, oh, I know what that is. But in opposition to that, my father was playing me a lot of very different music in the car. We'd listen to Pink Floyd, we'd listen to Black Sabbath, some Metallica, Iron Maiden, all that kind of stuff. So I was getting a lot of that from my father, which I think helped. You know, gave me a broad span, helped me to as I grew up and started to take in other aspects of performance as well as ballet. That stood me in good stead. But my mother also, she played a lot of musical stuff to me. In fact, one of the things that I remember most clearly is her playing the Cats soundtrack to me, and specifically the Mr. Mistopheles soundtrack. So that was quite a big moment when I was playing Mr. Mistopheles, and they actually came over to stay in Portugal while I was there, came over to visit me. And while I was playing Mistopheles, she came to see me be Mr. Mistopheles. And that was sort of a, nearly 15 to 20 years in the making thing. It was one of her favourite roles that she remembered from musicals years ago, and then suddenly I was playing it, and I remembered listening to her playing the tune on the radio or cassette, I guess, at that time. Yeah, and it was a strange experience, very strange. But probably, I mean, I would imagine that had quite an influence on my development and where I wanted to go as a performer as I grew up. For my first audition, I was actually 16 years old for a professional show. The show was Peter Pan, and the only reason I was going was because I knew the man who choreographed it. And he thought it'd be a good experience for me and allowed me to come along to the audition, which it was, and it was a very intense experience. Pretty much every audition that you ever do will be an intense experience, because you're nervous, and for a lot of performers, that audition is the difference between getting paid and eating and having somewhere to stay and stuff. My most exciting role so far would probably definitely have to be Mr. Mistopheles in Cats. It's one of the key roles in the show. It's he sort of turns up to save the day after Macavity, the evil cat, steals old Deuteronomy, the elderly leader of the cats, the wise cat, and Mistopheles shows up to magic him back into existence. It was an incredibly stressful role. I mean, you start about 40 to 50 feet above the stage, I guess, holding onto a rope, and then you get winched in down from the ceiling, and you've got a big sparkly coat on and stuff, which is wonderful, looks great, terrifying if you have even a minor fear of heights.
So yeah, it starts off in a very, very stressful way. It's also right at the end of the show when you've done a lot of dance already. So you're extremely tired, and then you have to pull this very long solo out of the bag. But it's very, very exciting, and it's the only time, you know, you get to, it's the only time you get the stage to yourself in that show. It's one of the few times where you just go, okay, the audience is all mine, and I get to dance for them, and it's just you. So yeah, it's very exciting.
My advice to young people going out to auditioning and performing now and experiencing those nerves for the first time is, you know, breathe through it. Trust in your training. Trust in what you've done so far and what you've been building up to. This is those moments of performance, those moments of audition. They are the moments you've been building up to. Trust that you have prepared yourself in all the years that you've been training before. Trust that you've done enough, that you're going to cope when you're in there, and use the nerves. Don't let them be something that drives you down, shuts you down emotionally from what's going on around. Use them. Let them excite you. Let them be something that you feel right here that drives you forwards. Don't let them become a destructive force. Understand that you're prepared, you're ready, you are absolutely. 9 times out of 10, what you see is people going, oh, I'm not as good as that guy. You watch everybody else in the room, you go, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that. You are good at what you do. You've trained for it, you are good at what you do, so concentrate on what you do. Don't care about what the other guy's doing, don't care about the other people in the space. You do what you do to the best of your ability, and at some point, it may not be in the first audition, it may not be in the 5th audition, but at some point somebody's going to see you and go, yes, that's the thing that I want in my show. That's the person who's right for this part. Okay, so I think the very first time that I ever felt like I was a professional was probably the opening night of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was my first professional performance as an adult, and yeah, in that you've done all the rehearsal process and been everywhere and done stuff, but it doesn't really hit home until like you're on the stage and all the stuff's happening around you, and suddenly you just sort of go, oh, everybody's looking at me. And I had that moment in a very sharp instance, because in Beauty and the Beast, one of my roles that I was playing was the young prince before Beast gets turned into the Beast. I was the young prince, and in the cartoon it's all done through a stained glass window, so you have a lot of movements which are very stylistic of being that sort of stained glass window. But you start on stage completely by yourself, and you're dressed in this incredible outfit, this very regal crown. I had hair down to here, wig, and a big robe and all this kind of stuff. So you're dressed in all this incredible stuff, and you're alone on stage, and the music starts, and there's no backing out at that point. That's the bit where like the nerves you just have to, anything that you're feeling, you just have to deal with it, because you can't just leave the stage, you can't do anything. And at that moment I went, oh, this is my job, I have to do this. This is what I can't get nervous, I can't get scared, I can't crumple. This is my job, this is how I'm earning my money, and I'm gonna do this thing. And it's quite an incredible feeling, because suddenly you've got like thousands of people looking at you, expecting something from you, and you've got to deliver. You've got to deliver in that moment. So yeah, it's a nerve-wracking moment, but it's a moment where you step up. It's a moment where you step up to go, I'm a professional, I can do this, I've trained for this, this is what I do. And it really is about that. It is about that not crumpling, about stepping up and being, right, here I am, I've done this. And when you finish your first show and you go, I did it, and everything was okay, and I made it through. It's a good feeling. That's a professional feeling. Okay, so this is my classroom, and this is the bar. And the bar for ballet training, well, for a lot of dance training, is really the key place where we begin with everything. The bar is where you start to develop position, you develop strength because you have support. Everything you do at the bar, be it a simple plie or a tendu, which comes from here, or even a fondu, which can come out this way, all the way around. All of these things are done with the support of the bar initially, so that you're not worrying too much about, no, my center's going, my back's going, I'm struggling with everything. You have this support to help you. It's a key training tool, because if we just went straight into the middle, guaranteed, initially when you first started, people would be falling over, people would be falling all over the place. So this is what we use. This is what we use in order to train ourselves from the very, very beginning. And you'll do a bar throughout all of your training, and in fact, probably through most of your professional career. In fact, pretty much every show I did, I warmed up with a bar previously. Not necessarily, there wasn't always a bar backstage necessarily, but I'd hang on to something, be it a chair, be it a cabinet or whatever I could find. I'd hang on to it, and I'd pretty much always start off with a bar. It's the best training tool you have, it's the best warm-up device you have, it's really kind of your best friend. And it's funny that I say that, because when I was younger, when I was initially training, I was always used to find the bar so boring. You do the same exercises over and over and over again, but that's all part of the strengthening process. And it wasn't until I became a professional that I really appreciated everything that a bar could do for you. So yes, the bar. So you can also take, if you need to stretch, for instance, at the bar, if you take yourself up this way, boom, you can pop your leg up there, and we have a whole bunch of stretching exercises that can come right down the leg. You can take it a second if you need to. You can take yourself over this way and stretch. And if you want to stretch your arabesque, you can take it to the derriere as well. So really, I mean, it's not just a supportive tool. It's also something that you can use for flexibility, strength, anything you like. Starting in my training, I mean, I do have a reasonably good natural ear for accents and replicating them. So over the course of my training and through different demands, through the roles that I've played over the years, I've learned to do probably even more than 20 odd different accents from around England, and I've been able to turn my hand to pretty much anything that's been asked of me over the years, accent-wise. If you've probably never heard of a band called the Wurzels, but the Wurzels are a group that they do songs like "I've Got a Brand New Combine Harvester," and it's our very, very farmery accent, very country folk. But that accent is also used in Bristol, which is a wonderful, wonderful city that I love going to. But I associate that accent with farming country folk. But then you go to Bristol, and they've got the same sort of accent going down there, but you're in the middle of a city, and it doesn't seem to feel quite right. But it's also the accent that that Bristolian accent can be like pirates. Pirates are like, I mean, you give it a little bit more gruffness, and then you get yourself like a pirate who's har and all this kind of stuff. In fact, I believe Blackbeard might have come from there. I may be making that up, but I think that's kind of the accent that I always think of pirates. But I do like the Cockney. I like a standard, like, all right mate, Cockney, very down like sort of the Essex way kind of accent, East London. It's a lot more relaxed. It's got a bit more bounce to it, because you've got to be in the city. Like, there's bigger punch. There's a bigger punch. You've got to make yourself heard over all the other things that are going on in the city. So yeah, I like the Cockney too. Very classic English accent. Yeah, they're probably my two favourite English accents, and then there's obviously my accent, which is, technically I have almost dictionary definition received pronunciation, RP, because that's, everyone tends to think of it as sort of, it's the English
by dictionary, you were sent to boarding school, and all of the accents that happen regionally around England kind of get just negated by each other when you grow up in a boarding school, and that's almost exactly what happened to me. This is nothing like a Chester accent, and in fact I struggle with a Chester accent because it's gone. It's totally gone from where I am. So my accent received pronunciation is a very strange thing. But it's a phenomenon that's sort of left over from the public schoolboy going to boarding school thing that happens in England, and that's me. That's me. That's my accent. I mean, really, the thing that brought me to Hawaii, or the person that brought me to Hawaii was Nick Logue. We met when he was running a world performance course at East 15 in Southend, just outside London. And after I'd done a lot of my performance career actually as a dancer, I decided I wanted to retrain myself towards being more of an actor and stage combatant. One of the things that I got my BA in at that time was stage combat, acting in stage combat. So when I went there, I met Nick. I was a little bit older. I was I suppose not a traditional student. I was a little bit older, and I met Nick, and we chatted about a lot of things. And one of the things that I chatted to him about was my desire to be a teacher. Once I'd finished performing and once I'd done it, I wanted to train as a teacher, and he encouraged me in that. And then once we'd done that, and he came back here, and I went to teach in England. I taught dance and drama and different performing arts things at a college in England. And I came out to visit him. I think he'd only in his first year here. At the end of his first year here, I came out to visit him here, and I loved it so much. Everything about this island is so wonderful. It's such a wonderful place with a wonderful attitude. It's welcoming. It's beautiful. All of this is beautiful, and the people, the acceptance and the love that the people have on this island is, I think, unique from most of the places that I've been to, and I loved it so much. I expressed that to Nick, and then sort of 5 years down the line we are now, and he said to me that he wanted to build a dance branch of the performing arts course over here, and suggested that I potentially apply for the lecturer pool here, just in case. And we spoke about the implications of me leaving my job back home and moving country and stuff, and the classes have to pick up, the classes have to be taken, students have to want to come, all that sort of stuff. But I thought, whilst I'm young, I guess, whilst I'm still okay, and I haven't got any. Well, I do have some major ties back home, but whilst I still had it in me to make the move, potentially we would look at that. So yeah, I applied to the lecture pool. They accepted my application, and Nick hired me to come and do the dance stuff over here, and I'm extraordinarily lucky that he did, I think. I'm teaching ballet. Beginners ballet, but if there continues to be interest, if the classes continue going, I'd like to eventually move that into intermediate and advanced, if we can. I'm teaching modern contemporary dance in the same veins. If we can move that on from beginners into intermediate and advanced, I'd like to. And we're also doing a special topic in musical theatre at the moment, which is a lot of fun. I do enjoy that, because we get to explore everything: singing, dance, acting, all of the things that I enjoy. But also I teach modern at Castle High School, which has just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. The students over there, they're so dedicated. They're ready. They are in and ready to go at all times, which I really appreciate. And they're a positive group. So yeah, that's what I'm currently teaching. Well, I think performing arts should be offered in schools and colleges and throughout any training because it's so useful for all walks of life. You don't have to want to be a professional dancer or want to be an actor or want to be a performer for the skills that you learn in those classes to be important. For everybody, physical training to that level, it's not only healthy, it's not just like good for you physically, but it can help you with posture. It can help you with the way you walk into a room. Whenever you walk into an interview, it can help you with the way you present yourself with confidence. It can help you with muscle memory, memorizing sequences of movement, just memory in general. Help you with speaking, help you with talking, help you with engaging with the people around you, which is important for anything that you're going to do, socially, professionally, everything that you may do. Performing arts has something which you can take from it, even if it's just a confidence boost or a creative outlet. Whatever you need it for, performing arts is there for it. And culturally, around the world, performing arts has existed for every culture. There's songs, dances, stories that have been told around the world for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's in us that we need that. We need that in us. We need to have a creative outlet. We need to be able to speak and communicate in those ways. At all times, just as people, I think we need that. So I think it's truly an important part of any person's education. The hardest person to leave behind. I think that's probably going to be a tie. It's going to be a tie between several people. Firstly, my grandmother. I lived with my grandmother for the last 5 years. She looked after me, and I looked after her in several ways. And you know, I mean, she's been a huge part of my life. She brought me up essentially for a vast amount of my life. So it's hard. It is hard to leave her. I mean, that being said, I lived away for a very long period. I was on tour. I'm used to being away from home. I'm used to that scenario. But when I went back to work and teach, you know, I moved back in with her, and we took care of each other. So that was a big thing. I did also have a young lady back home that who I miss very, very much. It's probably the first time in my life that I've had to leave someone in that way that I was still in love with, and that's a tough decision to make. And we are. I mean, I would say that we do still have those feelings, and it's difficult. But she has her life to be living at the moment, and we spoke about it, and this was an opportunity that I couldn't really say no to. So we understand where each other is at the moment, and that's okay. Because we do. And then the last person that I left, my cat. I miss my cat terribly. My little cat called Safi. She was adorable, and she loved only me at that point. I took her off somebody who left the country, and I took her in, and she became very much my cat. And now I've left the country. I feel like I've betrayed her in some way. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling, because you know, obviously you can't explain. I can't explain to the cat like I can to Tash or to my gran. You know. So yeah, but I think it might have been a good thing for her, because she's become much more snuggly with my grandmother, I believe. So she's now very good company for my gran. So that is a good thing. But I miss her a lot. It's sad. Oh, Max Durrant is extremely lucky at the moment. He's had a very lucky career professionally as a dancer. Now it's not all luck. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that, but then you need an element of luck. So I've been very lucky as a performer. I've been lucky as a teacher. I've always enjoyed my students and my classes and the things that I've taught. I've been very lucky with my friends.
So I think overall I am lucky. I've had a lucky existence so far, and I hope it continues.